So where
Okay.
are you from, Hiba?
I'm Lebanese and I'm Palestinian.
Okay. Where in Palestine are you from? What part of Palestine?
My grandpa is from Ramle, so Israel proper.
Ramla. That's near Tel Aviv, right?
Next to Lid, like central Palestine.
I'm so bad with these places.
It's
Okay, all
okay.
right. So it's in the state of Israel currently. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm question. Have you ever been to Israel, the West Bank?
No, I haven't because I have a Lebanese citizenship.
Oh, okay. All right, but are you American?
Wait, you don't remember me?
Listen, I don't remember anybody. You're American though, right?
Oh yeah, I have an American. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
American.
well, I want to let you know something. Maybe you're not aware of this. And it shocks me how many people aren't aware of
I
this.
don't know.
But since the Biden administration did the visa waiver program, basically they're letting Americans in who with Palestinian passports. But they also did this thing. I believe they did. You can look it up. I think I'm right. Where they said that they were going to allow the enemy nations in. And again, maybe they've kind of like loosened what they're allowing since the Trump administration, but I don't think they are. But basically, if you're Lebanese and you're American, they might. You can look into it. They
I know.
might. They
I know
might.
they'll let me in. I know they'll let me in. Like I know that's not an issue. I'm worried about like losing my Lebanese citizenship if they
Oh,
stamp.
because you're worried that they'll stamp your passport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I'll tell you something. They don't stamp passports. As someone who's been to Israel, they literally, if you go to the machine that they do, it's all mechanical. I mean, yes, you do go to a clerk. But I'm just saying, I mean, unless I don't know why they would stamp your passport, not stamp anybody else, because people were penalized for having their passports stamped in other countries. They have a new policy. It's been around for years that they don't stamp passports. They give you a little slip and you put
Okay.
it in your little passport, whatever you hold your passport in. It's like a little visa slip. And that's what you keep in Israel, but they never stamp anybody's passport anymore. They haven't done it for years.
Okay, okay, cool. Then I'll consider that. Thank you.
But let's say, God forbid, like accidentally they stamp your passport, which I don't think they would. Like, I mean, you
I
have
would
an
most
American
likely
passport.
travel in with my
But hold on,
American.
hold on, hold on. I don't think that's gonna happen. But that's being said, like they would stamp your American passport, I'm assuming. So what I'm saying to you is just go get a new passport.
Oh, T. Okay. Yeah, not gonna say I can lost it or something like that.
Yeah, you can claim you lost and just get a new one. I mean, that's what I would do if somebody stamped my passport that I didn't want the passport of. I would just go get a new one. I would just claim it got destroyed or I lost it in the park or
I
something.
didn't. Honestly, I did not think about that. But you don't
Well,
remember
I'm
me?
just trying. I'm just trying to help you get to your homeland. I mean, listen. I think all Palestinians and Jews should go visit. I think everybody should go visit Israel. But putting that aside, I think all Palestinians and Jews, especially, should go visit Israel.
No, I agree. I have a couple family members still there, but you don't. I'm so surprised. Like, my friends were Egyptian colonizer and like Lena and Echo. You don't remember us?
I mean, I do remember you, but I don't really care. I'll be honest with you. I don't.
How's like life been? I've been
Listen,
seeing you
listen.
on like.
I know. You guys are really into like TikTok drama, but can I tell
No,
you
what do
something?
you mean? What TikTok
Hiba,
drama?
Hiba, I'm talking. Hiba, I'm
Okay,
talking. Hiba, I'm
okay, go
talking.
ahead.
So here's the thing, right? One day you guys will come to realize that I give zero fucks about TikTok drama. I don't revolve my community around people on TikTok. I don't care about anonymous people I've never met before. The only person I care about, let me tell you something, the only anonymous person I care about on TikTok is Shalom. But putting that aside,
Just who?
why, like Hiba, why should I care? Why should I care about, am I ever gonna meet you? Do you buy me stuff off my wish list? Well, I do care about a couple people who bought stuff on my wish list. Even a couple. There are even Palestinians, not just Muslims, but Palestinians who have bought stuff off my wish list.
Really?
Yeah, I'm telling you, stuff for my trip to Israel, cookbooks. It's amazing. Like I had people buy when I was going to Israel before. I was trying to get stuff for the trip, like let's say water bottles, backpack, different things I need for the trip. And Palestinians were buying it for me, believe it or not. And now that I have like Palestinian cookbooks on my wish list, which I have a few on there right now, by the way, and Palestinians will go buy them because when you buy those cookbooks, you're supporting a Palestinian creator, right? You're giving money to Palestinians. You're buying a Palestinian product. So why not buy the Palestinian product and help the? Plus, I put it on my Instagram. I advertise the Palestinian food. It's great for spreading awareness. So people are like, why not do it? I also put Israeli cookbooks on there, but I don't think I have one on there right now. But I'm just saying, like honestly, like people not only do it for me, but they also see a benefit to it. And also, I think the Palestinians who bought stuff off my wish list for my trip really wanted me to go and see the region and see, what was going on. And I told people I was gonna try to do a balanced trip, and I think I pretty much did. I wish I had been able to go to Ramallah, Jericho, and Bethlehem though, but at least I got to go to Hebron.
How was Hebron?
Um, listen, I once watched this Breaking the Silence documentary on Hebron, and if you watch that documentary, you would think that every single second, every single minute in Hebron, there's a crisis. Like there's constantly people being arrested, there's constant this, there's constant that. And listen, I was there for 2 days, and there's lots of soldiers, there's lots of tension. I'm not denying that, but literally nothing eventful. I went on two days of tours there. Nothing eventful happened. Like I went to the Palestinian areas, I went to the Israeli areas. Like nothing went down, and of course stuff goes down there all the time. But I'm just saying, most of the time, people are just living their lives, going to work, going to school. I'm not saying it's hard for them, not easy for them to get there, easy for them to get there. But I'm just saying, most of the time, it's not like a chaotic scene there as people portray it to be on these videos. Most of the time, it's just everyday life. But it is life under an occupation. You're very well aware when you're in Hebron. That's why I tell people, if you're going to go to a Palestinian area and you have a choice between Ramallah and Hebron, go to Hebron, because Ramallah, you don't really see the occupation. In Hebron, you see and you feel the occupation, because because it's a very
I
high
heard like
tension.
I read something that like you can like feel it in the air, kind of like you can. It's like
You can, and not only that, but the soldiers, which is kind of interesting, because when we were in the Palestinian area, there was this one area that was Israeli controlled, and the tour guide, we went with a Palestinian tour guide. She kept on saying, we were in this one area where there were shops, and she was saying how Palestinians don't go there because the high Israeli troop presence, and how the shops just rely on tourists like us, like foreign tourists. So basically, and she was like, the troops are here all the time. But the funny thing is, when we were there were no IDF. Like the whole time we were in the Israeli controlled Palestinian area, I didn't see one troop. I'm not saying they're not there all the time, but I didn't see one IDF soldier. So again, like, and we were there for many hours. So I just think it's interesting how, like, this is true of this area, but it's not true like every single second of the day. Because literally, we were on that street and I didn't see any IDF soldiers. But she said their presence is there all the time. And I'm not denying what she's saying. I believe her. I'm just saying that we didn't see any while we were there.
okay.
We were in the Israeli controlled area, like the Israeli side. There were troops everywhere, like everywhere. Like every half a block, there was a soldier. Every half a block, except when we were on this one street called, I always forget if it's King David or King George. I always get it confused. The deserted street that they've cleared off because of the T attacks. There was literally no troops. There was nobody on that street except us, because nobody goes on that street. It's like not in
It's
use.
abandoned, kind of.
Well, it's not allowed to be used because of the level of T attacks that were there. So all the shops are closed down on that street.
Oh, that's like
So
kind of like a
it's
ghost
all
town.
shuttered. Huh?
Kind of like a ghost town.
It is. If you look at the pictures that I took of it, it's completely empty. It's like nobody's there. There's a very, very famous story about that. Like people talk about it all the time, how the stores were shut down and how people aren't allowed to be there and yada yada yada. But that being said, when I went to the Palestinian area controlled by the Palestinians, I remember the minute we entered, the Palestinian tour guide said, "There's the Palestinian police, the Palestinian Authority police." So then we knew we were under the control of the Palestinian Authority police. No more IDF. And
Like
I didn't see the police anywhere either. Not that I know what they look
Sulta,
like.
like the Sulta,
Huh?
like the Sulta.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Oh, sorry, that's like the Palestinian police force, right? Like the one that's armed.
Right. I mean, yeah, they do have pew pews. Yeah, like I took a picture of the police station actually. Yeah, when you enter through the checkpoint and you go over to that area, like basically you'll see the huge police station. Well, the way we entered, maybe there's another way to enter, but the way we entered, there's a huge. The minute you like when we walked a few feet into like the busy city area, like there was a huge police station to the left, and then there were stores to the right. And but like I said, I don't remember seeing any police people that look like police either. But we weren't in that area like that long because we had spent so much time in Abrahami Mosque. We didn't spend too much time in that area.
Oh, okay.
Because we took a very long tour of Abrahami Mosque, which I tell people that guy Way of Life SQ said he got exclusive access to the Abrahami Mosque stuff, and that's not true. Anybody can take a tour of Abrahami Mosque. Unlike Al-Aqsa and Dome of the Rock, they literally allow anybody in, and they have tours every single day. And you see the graves. The graves aren't locked up in a closet; they're literally in the main area. And anybody, like as an ex-Muslim Jewish convert, I went, and there was another Jew on the floor. They were Europeans. There was two Muslims on the floor. Like, I mean, anybody can go on a tour of Abrahami Mosque. They're very friendly and open and welcoming, and they let anybody in. They just dress you up like a Smurf. When I say that, I mean they put you in these. They put you like in these things to make you modest. They didn't do it. They put you like in this sleeve thing and this hooded thing. You're not wearing a hijab, and because your sleeves aren't long
Oh,
enough.
like so not just the hijab, you have to cover your arms too.
Yeah, they want you to cover your legs too. So they put you in a whole outfit. It looks like I said, it looks like a cape, and it has a hood on it.
Damn.
Yeah, they do that by Al-Aqsa Mosque too. At Al-Aqsa Mosque,
Okay.
they put people like in different sections, right? When you walk in, they say modest, immodest, whatever. And they didn't do that with me, right? Because they don't make you wear a hijab. They just make you like, if your legs aren't like, if you're wearing like short skirt, you're wearing shorts or whatever, they cover your legs, and I think they also cover your arms. But I have a picture of the people dressed up as Smurfs. They also have blue outfits for some reason, and they give you stuff to wear when you're in there. They also have a rule by Al-Aqsa and Dome of the Rock that you're not allowed to kiss or hold hands. Which a funny story about that, when I was outside Dome of the Rock, these two tourists, European, they kissed and tried to take a photo, and the Jordanian Waqf guard screamed at them and said, "That's disrespectful. Don't do that here. You're not allowed to do that in front of the mosque." But
Yeah.
like, you're aware of those rules. Like you're not supposed to. There's certain things you're not supposed to do when you go on the compound, and people who do that are
It's disrespectful.
they're not following the rules. Whether you believe in your religion, whatever religion people are in the comment section, that it's disrespectful or not, like that's the rule, and you're supposed to follow the rules. So you should respect the rules of
What
the
happened during the like World Cup? What was it, a couple of years ago, when they were like trying to go in knowing the rules and they were still trying to disrespect it?
Yeah, I mean, if you go someplace, you have to respect the rules. Like that's, and the Jordanian Waqf spends. I could tell the Jordanian Waqf guy was just, and it wasn't the Jewish people; it was the European tourists. Was just annoyed by the fact that these people could just couldn't. I mean, why would you even go to like a holy site, not even dressed properly? Like to me, I just think like people got to use some common sense. I mean,
Yeah, I agree. They're just disrespectful because they think that it's like their culture is like their like the culture. No matter where they go, it's like, yeah,
well,
it's like
I think for the Jews and the Muslims, it's a holy site, right? For the European tourists, it's a tourist attraction, right?
yeah, exactly.
Honestly, it really is. I'm telling you, as someone who went to the Temple Mount or the Al-Aqsa compound with the tourists, I'm telling you, for the Europeans, the ones who aren't religious or Christian, but they're just like whatever, an atheist, whatever. They're just going like touring Israel. When they go to these places, they're literally like tourist attractions. They don't see like any religious. They're like, oh, let's go take a picture here. This is like another thing they're doing on their vacation.
What do you think about what's going on in Yemen?
I mean, I don't really listen. I just hope that there's no innocent Yemenis that are hurt by what's going on with this movement. Because my ex is Yemeni, and Yemen is really suffering. And there is an actual famine in Yemen. But the Houthis, I think the Houthis are a lot like the Taliban. I don't think you're going to get rid of them. I think maybe you can weaken their weapon system so they can't do as much damage, but I don't think you're going to get rid of them. So I think this is going to be like, much like when we fought the Taliban. I think it's just, I'm glad we're not sending troops in so our troops don't get hurt, because basically I just think we're not going to be able to get rid of them.
Yeah, but I also think that I think it's been reported that there's been I think 12 kids who have died.
I say unalive, please.
Oh, sorry, unalive.
I did not hear that kids got unalived. I heard that they were. I've not checked Twitter in a while, but last time I checked, I heard that there were 13 people that were unalived. I did not hear that they were kids.
Okay, I can check right now. But
I did not hear whether they were adults or kids. I heard they were, but that was like yesterday afternoon. I don't know if they've been booming since. But again, like it would not surprise me if maybe a child got hurt in the booming. It would not surprise me. But that being said, I don't want to see any innocent people anywhere, including Yemen, get hurt.
hmm
But I understand the Americans have to take care of. I mean, the Houthi situation is not just a problem for America and Israel; it's a problem for the whole world, right? Because they're hurting the shipping situation, and they're hurting everybody's ships, everybody all over the world.
I think, I mean, they have clear demands, no? Like, I think their demands are.
But here's the thing, right? Okay, whether you want something or whatever, that doesn't mean you get to disrupt the whole world because you want something, right? I mean, it's not right to affect all these different people in all these different countries, who many of them are not even supporting Israel because you're upset over shipping, because you're upset over Israel. Plus, it's not going to do anything for the Gazans. Just like when H Group in Lebanon was fighting for the Gazans, it didn't do anything for the Gazans. It just hurt Lebanon when Israel fought back.
I think it did it a little bit. I think it did. I think it, like, yeah, no, I think it did a little bit.
You think it accomplished something for the Gazans what H Group in Lebanon did?
I think to an extent to show one like resort resources. One second, I have to wash my hands, so just give me 1 second to just wash my hands. I don't want to do it on the.
Okay, so I want to say that um, the IDF has enough resources that even though it took resources to take care of H Group in Lebanon, it didn't affect the Palestinian fight at all. So
Sorry. So not only that, it affected them like economically, right? So like all the like costs.
affected them economically, so it made the people who the so you want to know, Hiba, do you know who lives in the north? Do you know who lives in the north?
Settlers, I believe, the ones who are like also ultra orthodox, I believe. If I'm
Okay, so this shows how much you know about Israel. The people who live in the north who had to evacuate, first of all, they're not settlers. Settlers live in the West Bank. There are Jewish Israelis that live in the north, but a lot of people who live in the north are actually Druze. And you know, one of the boomings that has H Group in Lebanon did actually unalived a bunch of Druze kids. So actually, you're affecting the Druze a lot when you're affecting the north because that's where the Jews live. So the people who had to evacuate, a lot of them were Druze. Also, Israeli Arabs also live in the north, who were technically Palestinians. So
I
that
saw the Druze attack. It was on the football field, right?
soccer field, I think it was.
Yeah, football. I meant it like the middle, like yeah, football field. I believe that the Druze leader came out and said that no, it was an Israeli strike that unalived them. The leader
That's
from
not true. That's not true. I mean, you had like one guy who came out and said that, and he wasn't the Druze leader. But again, people on the internet take things out of context and say things that aren't true. I mean, I've seen all kinds of fake news. There's this one guy. I love this guy because I find him hilarious. Who always is like showing articles, but of course he doesn't show where the article is from. I'm sure if you Googled it, you'd find how unreliable the source is. I mean, probably you might think it's a reliable source, but it's not. But putting that aside,
Israeli or like
let me just finish. Let me just finish. And he always tells what the article says, right? Sometimes he uses Times of Israel and Jerusalem Post, which is reliable. But I guarantee you, when he's telling you what the article says, he's not telling you exactly what the article says. He's telling you his version of it. This is my advice to people on TikTok. When someone is posting an article in the background and they're telling you what the article says, Google the article, read it for yourself, see where it's from, see the source. Make sure what they're saying in the video is actually what the article says. Because 90% of the time, it's either not a reliable article or they're not saying what the article says. So this is an example, this Druze situation you're talking about is an example of not saying what the article says. An example of taking things out of context. Because one random guy said something. Again, doesn't make him a leader, doesn't make him reliable, and it's just not true, okay? So, yeah, but anyways, but yeah, people say all kinds of things, but go ahead.
yeah. I'm just gonna get the source right now. So give me 1 second. What was it? It was in the Golan, right?
I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get it 1 second, just so you know.
But why are we discussing something that happened like a year ago? Like, do you have anything from from 2025?
It was from the. It's called Majd al-Shams. We can talk about 2025. I don't mind, but I think it's
Okay,
important.
so do you have anything recently?
I know what's happening in Yemen. I know like the ceasefire and how Israel's like like trying to get out of it.
No, Israel's not trying to get out of it. Israel's offered and America's offered a bunch of deals to extend the ceasefire, and H Group has turned down all those deals. They've offered like 5 deals now, and H Group's turned down every single one of them. Did you
Um,
know that? Are you actually reading the news?
no, I
They've
haven't been
offered
really correct.
the U.S. Not only has Israel offered deals, but the U.S. Negotiators have made like I think 3 deals, and they've all brought them before H Group, and H Group has turned down every single one of those deals. The thing, let me tell you what's holding up H Group. Hiba, let me tell you what's holding up H Group. The problem with H Group is that H Group doesn't want to release the amount of hostages that have been offered in these deals. They want to release barely any hostages. And I know why. I know the thinking of H Group. H Group doesn't have that many live hostages left, and they want to hold on to as many as possible so that they can have some kind of bargaining chip. And if they release too many hostages, they won't have that much of a bargaining chip. So that's why they don't want to release these hostages. Listen, I'm not telling wrong information. You can literally go look on my Twitter. I always tell you guys, follow me on Twitter because unfortunately I've been on TikTok today, so I haven't been able to post the news today on Twitter. But I've been posting all these updates on Twitter. You can find if you follow reliable people on Twitter instead of PollyKing524 or IsraelQueen627, you actually find this kind of news. You actually find the updates on the different deals that were offered and how they were turned down and how it worked out. There was only one thing I think that H Group agreed to, but it wasn't something they were offered. They agreed to something that they weren't offered that had like very unreasonable demands on their part, and nobody on the Israel American side was going to agree to that.
Yeah, so I think that when you talk about like ceasefire, right? I think we should look at like what so like for example like Hamas spokesperson or H group
H Group, please, move to
sorry
H Group.
yeah, H group spokesperson said his name is Abdul Latif Al-Kano, who said that like we support any proposal that reaches us through intermediaries and deal with it flexibility and like with high
But
positivity.
but they haven't been doing that. Listen, they can sit there and say that all time, the whole time. But the bottom line is they haven't been doing that because again, they've been offered like 5 deals and they've turned all of them
But
down.
have we looked at the conditions of the deals? What if they were unfair? What if they were not what H
Again,
group
it was
wants?
to release hostages. The ceasefire period was for a good amount of time. It was for them to release hostages. And again, the ultimate goal is to get H Group out of Gaza, and H Group doesn't want to leave Gaza. So that's why we haven't moved to the next phase. Because H Group doesn't want to leave Gaza. They just don't want to leave. And the thing about it is that in order for the situation to be resolved eventually, they're going to have to leave. Otherwise, this is just going to go on until kingdom come.
Why
Like
should they
honestly,
leave?
they're gonna have to give a power. I mean, that's the thing. That was the problem with the Egyptian plan. The problem with the Egyptian plan was it had no way to get the H Group out of there. Or to
But
get
why
H
should they
Group from
leave?
not. Can I please finish from H Group governing? Why should H Group leave? Oh, do you want me to list all the reasons why H Group
Yeah, I
should
mean,
leave?
if this is like a self-governing, right? If they're like a
Heba,
self-governing,
Heba. Listen, with all due respect, if the Palestinians don't want to be bombarded with war every single year and don't want to have a blockade and don't want to have all these problems with the Israelis, then they can't have a government that's a T organization, right? And it's not like H Group just stays in Gaza and minds their own business and doesn't bother anybody, right? H Group leaves Gaza and and unalives the Israelis. H Group um, throws rockets. H Group does attacks on the West Bank and Israel. I mean, if H Group just stayed in Gaza, let me finish. If H Group just stayed in Gaza and mind their own business, I'd be like, have your life fine in Gaza. But the thing is, they just don't do that. They come and they unalive Israelis all the time. So the thing is, Israel has every right to say, enough is enough. We don't want this on our border. We don't want this government on our border, like constantly trying to and successfully unaliving our people. Any reasonable country would want that situation.
sure, but it's not a border, Andrea, right? Because at the end of the
It is. It is. It
Angela, I've
is.
been like letting you speak. If it's okay, just to give me like, thank you. Right? I think what we're forgetting is that like Gaza and like Israel is not this like United States Canada situation. It's also not this United States Mexico situation. We have to remember that Gaza is being effectively occupied by the Israeli state, right? So it's not like they are their own independent sovereign nation. Israel is quite literally occupying Gaza.
So what is the point? What does that have to do with anything? Age group is still governed. Let me just finish my sentence. Age group is still governing it. So my only point is we don't want age group governing it, whether it's sovereign, not sovereign. It's got a sovereign government. So
It
we don't
doesn't
want
have a sovereign
we don't
government.
want that government. We don't want that government there. We just want them out of there. Let's say they're not the government, which they are. We just don't want them there. We don't want any of the T
How do you,
groups there. I mean, don't Israelis have the right to be free of T groups that are unaliving them? I
don't
mean,
Palestinians have the right to determine who they want as for their
okay,
leadership?
listen. Here's the thing, right? Like I said, if these T groups were in Gaza, not bothering the Israelis, then I'd be like, okay, do whatever you want. But again, they're
As
bothering.
long as the
They're
occupation
bothering.
exists.
Hiba, they're bothering other people. Hiba, listen. If you had a neighbor that was just doing this stuff in his own house and not bothering you, then you wouldn't have the right to mess with the neighbor. But if the neighbor was coming into your yard, trashing your yard, coming into your house, robbing your house, coming into your house, stabbing your family members, then you would have every right to take legal action against your neighbor. And that's the difference, that the people aren't sitting in Gaza just minding their own business, living their lives, not bothering their neighbors. They're bothering is a big understatement. They're bothering the Israelis.
Well, because they're
What
being
I'm trying to point out
occupied.
to you, Hiba, is this, and I want to move on from this because you're just not talking any sense. It
Well,
doesn't any rational nation, any rational person would be addressing the problem of being unalive by these people.
okay.
So let's move on. Let's move on.
I don't think that's fair
I
for
don't
us
Hiba,
to
Hiba,
move on
Hiba.
to
I
if
want
we
to
move
Hiba,
on.
Hiba. Other people are requesting. I want to move on because literally you're just talking in circles, and
Wait,
we beat this like a dead horse. So
can I just respond?
what is your next point? What is your next point?
Can I just respond and then we can move on to
No,
my
I
next point?
really want to move on because honestly, you're just going to say they're not sovereign, yada
Yes.
yada. Like we get it. We heard
Yeah,
you.
fine. I'm not even going to say that. What I'm going to say is that age group has consistently said that as long as the occupation exists, they will continue to resist. So as soon as the occupation stops existing, wait, can I please let me? Can you?
Hiba.
I'm
I
trying to be as
understand
respectful
what
as
you're going to say.
possible.
Hiba, I understand they justify their teaism because they say that they have the right to go unalive innocent people because they feel all the land is theirs. Well, here's my answer to that, right? I don't care if you feel like you own the whole universe. You don't have the right to go unalive random people because you feel like you own this, that, or the other thing. My other answer to that is the land
But
just
that's what
doesn't
Israel
belong.
is doing.
Hiba, I'm not done yet. The land just doesn't belong to the Palestinians. It also belongs to the Israelis, the Jews,
Right.
the Druze, the Armenians, to a whole smorgasbord of people who made it their home. And again, just because H group feels like it's all theirs and they want to go unalive random people because of that,
That's not how it operates. That's not what their ideology is, and that's
no,
not what their
literally,
thinking
that is
is.
their ideology.
It's
Literally,
not.
Hiba, listen, I'm going to remove you because honestly, this is getting boring and tiring. Listen to me. Their ideology, literally, they say it. You're only doing one quote from H Group. You're not quoting the rest of their quotes. You're not quoting the fact that they literally tell people, their spokesperson you love so much, tells people, go blow yourself up. Go blow up buses. Go
That's
blow up cars.
they say to resist.
They say, go do more T attacks in West Bank and Israel and go on alive
They
more
say to
Israelis.
go do popular resistance.
Hiba. They literally say that. They literally say, these are quotes from them. They've literally said, when there's a T attack, they've said, do more of those. Go on alive more
They
people.
they
They've literally
tell
said
people
that.
to engage in like what's it called, effective resistance.
Let me tell you something. The T attacks have done nothing for the Palestinians. All it's done is gotten them 100 steps backwards, not 100 steps forwards.
I disagree with you.
Really? How in any way have these T attacks helped the Palestinians?
How the T attacks? It's like which T attack specifically
How
are you
how
talking
how
about? Are you
how
talking
have
about the
any,
ones?
how have any of the T attacks helped the Palestinians?
There's it. Okay, so I you call them T attacks. I call them resistance, right?
But
So
they're
the
not
resistance.
resistance. Okay,
They are.
let me ask you a question. How would you feel if your family was pew-pewed, your mother, your daughter, your husband, your mother? Like, I mean, listen, you call it resistance because you're not a victim of it, right? Because you
I
think
am a victim of it. I was in Lebanon in
no, with all
2006. I
those
was a
things, you're
victim.
not a
Okay,
victim
no,
of
no, no.
it. If
This is
you were a
not fair.
victim of a
You cannot
Palestinian T
quantify
attack,
me as this.
you wouldn't be calling it resistance.
You cannot write me off like this.
Bye bye. I'm not continuing this conversation. Honestly, you're not a victim of anything. You're sitting on your couch in your basement in America. You're not a victim of anything. Don't even sit here and talk that shit. What bullshit. Honestly. Victim my ass. You've never even been to Israel.